Hi, it's Pilar Kellenbarger with Collecting Our Angels, Nurturing Our Children. This is the next book we're going to do. So, all you moms, dads, grandmas, go ahead and take a coffee break. And boys and girls, I'm Mrs. K, and today we're going to read The Best Nest by P.D. Eastman, one of my favorite books. This is an oldie but a goodie. Title page The Best Nest. Mr. Bird was happy. He was so happy. He had to sing. This was Mr. Bird's song. I love my house, I love my nest. In all the world, my nest is best. Then Mrs. Bird came out of the house. It's not the best nest, she said. She's not happy. I'm tired of this old place, said Mrs. Bird. I hate it. Let's look for a new place right now. There's Miss Nutmeg. There she goes. Hi, Nutmeg. So they left the old place to look for a new one. This place looks nice, said Mr. Bird. Let's move in here. Oh, I think they're going to go live in the tree. But somebody else had already moved in. So they looked at another house. This one looks nice, said Mr. Bird, and there's no one in it. Uh-oh, you're wrong, said Mrs. Bird. This house belongs to a foot. So they went on looking. I like this one, said Mr. Bird. It has a pretty red flag on the roof. Uh-oh, look who's coming. I've always wanted a house with a flag, said Mrs. Bird. Maybe this place will be all right. Uh-oh. But it was not all right. I guess I made a mistake, said Mr. Bird. You make too many mistakes, said Mrs. Bird. I'm going to pick the next house. And here it is, right here. Oh. They flew in, they looked around. Isn't it too big? Asked Mr. Bird. I like this big place, said Mrs. Bird. This is the place to build our new nest. They went right to work. They needed many things to build their nest. First, they got some hay. They got some soda straws and broom straws. They got some sweater string. Oh my goodness. They got some stocking string and some mattress stuffing. They got some horsehair. They got some man hair. I don't think the horse is enjoying that. Soon they had all the hay, all the straw, all the string, all the stuffing, all the horsehair, and all the man hair they could carry. Mr. and Mrs. Bird worked very hard. It took them the rest of the morning to finish their nest. This nest is really the best, said Mrs. Bird. I want to stay here forever. Mr. Bird was very happy. Too, he flew to the top of his house. He sang his song again. I love our house. I love our nest. In all the world, our nest is best. He was so busy singing, he didn't even see Mr. Parker coming. Every day at 12 o'clock, Mr. Parker came to the church. Mr. Parker came to pull a rope. The rope went up to the bird's new nest. The rope rang the big bell under Mrs. Bird's nest. Bong, bong, bong. Mrs. Bird got out of there as fast as she could fly. Bong, bong, bong. So there she goes. There's Mr. Bird coming. When Mr. Bird came in, all he could see was a mess of hay and string and stuffing and horsehair and man hair and straws. Where was Mrs. Bird? I will look for her until I find her, said Mr. Bird. He looked high, he looked low, he looked everywhere for Mrs. Bird. He looked down into a chimney, but Mrs. Bird wasn't there. He looked down into a water barrel, but Mrs. Bird wasn't there. Then he saw a big fat cat. There was a big fat smile on that fat cat's face. There were some pretty brown feathers near the fat cat's mouth. Uh-oh. Mr. Bird began to cry. Oh dear, he cried. This big fat cat has eaten Mrs. Bird. Aww. Mr. Bird flew off. I'll never see Mrs. Bird again, he cried. It was getting dark. It began to rain. It rained harder and harder. Mr. Bird could not see where he was going. Crash! Mr. Bird bumped into something. I wonder what he's bumping into. What do you think? It was his old house. That old house that Mrs. Bird hated. I'll go inside, said Mr. Bird. I'll rest here until the rain stops. Mr. Bird went in and there was Mrs. Bird sitting there singing, I love my house, I love my nest. In all the world, this nest is best. Oh, how awesome. You here? Gasped Mr. Bird. I thought you hated this old nest. He thought that she disliked it. Mrs. Bird smiled. I used to hate it, she said, but a mother bird can change her mind. You see, there's no nest like an old nest for a brand new bird. Oh. And when the egg popped open, the new bird thought so too. Oh my gosh, how cute. Look how cute he is. Awesome. Okay, everyone, you have a great day. Please make sure that you're listening to your parents and follow their instructions and just enjoy reading and enjoy some more of my read alouds. Have a great day.